We're here with Grant and Lindsey, and I want you to introduce yourselves.
Go for it.
Okay, I'm Grant Cooper.
I'm Dr. Lindsey Swindall. Throw the credential
Doctor.
out there.
And we are, our company is Winfield Artists, LLC.
That's right.
We educate art through education.
Mm-hmm.
Education using through the arts. And Dr. Swindall is a published author.
Mm-hmm.
And a professor. I don't know why I'm giving her resume.
This guy is an actor and a comic.
And a comedian. And we joined forces. We've known each other, I think this will be our 18th year knowing each other, but
it's just flown by.
Yeah, I knew her before she was a doctor, before she got her little paperwork. But so basically our company started 3 years ago now? No, when we, well, not the company, but when we first did our thing.
About 2.5. Yeah.
2.5 years ago. So Lindsey wrote a couple books on Paul Robeson, actor, activist from New Jersey, like me, and my brother. So when the paperback was coming out on her second book, right?
Paul Robeson, A Life of Activism and Art.
And way to plug it. So my brother asked her if she had ever had a book signing, and she said no. And then so he said, why don't we have a book signing? He has a apartment in Fort Greene, you know, big old backyard and stuff. He said, well, we'll do a book signing here, then a book signing in D.C., because he has the house where I was born at in D.C. So that's how we started. And then Lindsey came up with the idea, well, Grant, why don't you do the dramatic part, dramatic readings and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm. So rather than having just like a lecture kind of reading of the book, Grant interpreted some of Paul Robeson's actual speeches, and so it was, and we had more of a like interactive kind of format around themes from the book, and it went really well. So organically from that first program, we just started traveling to other colleges and schools, and then pretty soon we realized as things grew on their own. And our accountant said, well, you guys might as well go ahead and form an official LLC and, you know, to keep everything under the umbrella of a business, you know, sort of separate from us personally. And so we made everything official, and then really started to grow from there.
Yeah.
So I guess starting sort of going back towards like your educational days when you're sort of coming from where you grew up, obviously New York City there's a lot of arts, and that's it takes like sort of money to get there, and like how did you like did you sleep on couches, or like how did you get here, you know?
So you went the beginning. So yeah, so
he's got a great coming to New York story.
Okay, yeah, all right.
Yours is probably the best.
Let me just adjust them here.
All right. Yeah, my New York story. So I went to Navy right out of high school when I was 17, and came back. I lived in South Jersey, like Camden, Violin, all that other stuff down there. And so I was working in Atlantic City. I was a craft stealer, and then a coworker. You know, if you ever been to the casinos, I'll try to make this fast. When we don't have any games, we stand at the tables like this with arms folded, and but there was always music going on. So the music, you know, will keep me going. I'm all about the music. And then a coworker kept saying, "Y'all, you should try comedy, because with the craps, the game of craps, or it's a very vocal game. So every time the players would come up, it's like, you know, having your regular bar patrons, and these guys would talk a lot of trash, and then I would always zap them back, and then coworker said, you should try comedy, you should try comedy. And I was like, nah. And then, but she stayed on me for months and months and months. And so I just decided to start looking at myself, being myself as I remember it. And I noticed I was making anyone laugh, but not trying to be funny. It was just me being me. And but what sold me was the mobsters, the Italian mobsters are down there hanging around the casinos, loan sharking. And if you ever met the real mobsters, not the Sopranos, these gentlemen don't like black folks, and which is funny because they have a lot of black in their lineage. And but anyway, I know they were very cold, and so I was such a pain in the butt, because we can't curse on here, right? I was such a pain.
You can do whatever you want.
No, I don't want to.
No, but
so when I would be on a stick, and you know, when they would crap out, I would be like, "Ow, 7," and I saw these mobsters cracking a smile while they were losing their money. And I know, like, I was really teetering. But then I was like, well, if I can make those guys laugh when they're losing, we're taking their money, there must be something to it. And then, so I had my big comic debut. We all drove to Philly, and this is for the Comedy Club Explosion. And I did my little 5 minutes of stand up. And
this was like the late '80s. Right?
'89. Mm-hmm. And I was walking on air. And so then finally, I decided I wanted to move up here, and then I won this talent show in Atlantic City where I won 2 talent shows. I won the talent show at my casino where I got this limo ride all the way up to New York, and you get to stay at the hotel. And then I won the citywide talent show, which was $1,000 for 10 minutes. So anyway, I moved to New York in the limo. I came to New York in the limo, and I didn't have any money. Speaking of money, all I had was my sea bag of clothes. I didn't have any money. I moved in. I went to Lee Strasberg, and I met my roommate. And I actually ran out of money. He actually fed me, and then it just started from there. I was a bike messenger for 3 years. And and every day, not like on the sunny days, and so that was the only income I had. And with the arts, especially stand up, then you don't get paid right away. I got paid in that talent show, but then after that, you have to work all these jobs to support your rent. And so I had I worked everything, and then there's this purgatory time where you start making money from the arts. Then and then you want to try to get out of not doing the day work, and so I moved around a bit. I got lucky, rent stabilized apartment, but yeah, I came up here with no money, zero money.
But you came up in a limo.
But I came up in a limo, yeah. And then I've been I've done a couple commercials and stuff like that, but. That's my side of the story coming up to, as far as like starting the business, I would say. I mean, it's a lot. I know we only got 45 minutes, but.
Yeah, so I've only lived up in the area for about 3 years now. But I always came up to visit a lot, to do research for my books. So I grew up down south and went to the University of South Carolina, got a degree in history, did a lot of traveled to Europe, to Africa, studied abroad. And then I decided I wanted to get my doctorate. I went to UMass for my doctorate in African American Studies. And then, I really got into writing, was really inspired about Paul Robeson and his life. And so I then had to find a job teaching. So I worked all over the country in strange places. But I always really loved New York and hoped to get back here one day. And so it just happened 3 years ago. I applied for a job and got a job in Hoboken, a teaching job. So that I still have, the teaching job, which is, I really enjoy connecting with the kids and teaching the kids to write. And so I sort of have the writer's impulse, I guess, from the perspective of an educator as well as being a writer myself. It is a lot to balance a full-time job with everything we're trying to build in the company as well. But
yeah, because as you know,
balance.
Being an entrepreneur, you put out a lot of money.
Yeah.
What I mean?
Well, yeah.
You're investing in yourself, and
We're
you're putting it into your growth.
And I've been, before Doc and I linked forces, I've been doing that. As far as being a stand-up and actor, you get your headshots, all that stuff. Pay to do comedy shows. Right. But but as far as the business, luckily Doc is the organized one. So we got a virtual office in One World Trade Center, and we got the affordable package. But you know what I mean. So we spend money for that every month. But you need the address to like when you're soliciting work and stuff like that.
And when you have to have meetings with people, you have a place to go.
Right. And and we, what else do we spend money on?
We hired someone to do our website because we didn't want to, do it ourselves and mess it up. Yeah,
you don't want to. Oh, you can do your own website. No, we got, and that's really, really important as far as because of course as what we're doing here, everything is social media and stuff like that. And if you have it's funny because no matter if you have this job or this vision or whatever, but if people want to look you up, people don't have time to talk to you. People barely take your cards, but if they're interested in you, of course they're going to go to social media and see what you have there.
Right.
And so we had to get a professional website.
We're big believers in hiring people to do what they do best. You know, I mean, I'm not a tech person. You know, I know about history. You know,
right.
He knows about comedy and acting.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, so whenever we can, as we can, we really like to hire people, and then their work really shines. You know, because they're doing what they do best, and we want to do what we do best.